Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today's build is the low life Werebear. Now we're going to be using it to do Earthquake. We did a previous build on this where you were using Charge to proc Earthquake with the new mace that's in the game, the two-handed mace that procs Earthquake every time you use a non-channeling movement skill, and we showed how pretty much broken it was then. However, I decided to run a low life version to see if we can push it to even more brokenness than it already was, and we did. We basically doubled the damage that it would do. We did a little bit of snapshotting. This does require quite a few uniques. However, if you get it all put together, it is a ridiculously stupid boss killer on top of a speedrunner through the echoes. So when you're doing echoes, you pretty much put charge on autocast and that's it. You just point and you just go wherever the next enemy is, and it keeps charging towards them every 1.5 seconds. For bosses, I will warn you, it does not work against Lagon, but all the other bosses you can kill with it. Lagon has a targeting thing where you can't charge, so therefore the build doesn't work against it. But it does incredible damage, and it's pretty much a perma stun lock on a lot of the bosses. If you watch the gameplay, you'll notice we're just absolutely destroying them. They're not getting the moves off, and you're extremely tanky. Now, the reason that this build does so much better than the full life one is for a few reasons. One, there's the Berserker node inside of the passive tree for the Primalist, which gives you 100% more damage while at low life and 30% damage reduction at low life, so that allows us to do 100% more damage with Earthquake. Then inside of the Werebear tree, you can get percent increased damage based on how much missing life you have, so you can war and get like 400 to 500% damage increase, and then use Earthquake and then do even more damage. So those things put together allow you to do a lot more damage with it. And then we're snapshotting the cage armor so that you get mana back on kill, which will allow you to stay inside of Werebear forever when you're doing echo runs against bosses. Eventually you would run out, but you always kill the bosses before you run out of mana. But then you can, of course, revert back while you're done with the boss kill and go back to it. In Echoes, though, where you're getting lots of kills, in the arena where you're getting lots of kills, mana is not an issue. This also keeps you away from having to do entangling roots. You can do ice thorns when you get hit. But this is just a really, if you're just really lazy, and you happen to have all these uniques, and you want to play this, even though there's no way this will be left in the game, I say go for it. It is kind of fun to play just because of how ridiculously stupid it is, but then again, you know, it's not for everybody. So let's go ahead and get into the skills. For skills, I'm running Earthquake, Werebear Form, Swipe, Ice Thorns, and Summon Thorn Totem. For Earthquake, we have +2 with it. We got that on the helm, so make sure you get a tier 1 to a tier 5 to get +1 to +2 for Earthquake. You don't really need the extra points. This thing does plenty of damage without them, so don't even worry about that. 20 level skill points for this is all you really need. But with it, we have 4 points in Rupture, 1 point in Seismic Smash, and 1 point in Seismic Tide. Now this says it gives it a 2-second cooldown, but this cooldown and the mana cost are ignored when you proc this using the mace through a movement skill like Charge. Then we have 3 points in Potency, so it has more initial hit damage. And remember, with the 1 point Seismic Tide, you're getting 3 initial hits, so this 60% damage boost applies to all 3 hits. Then we have 2 points in Sunder, that's to unlock the harder they fall. This gives you 60% more initial hit damage against rares and bosses, which is the things that have the most life, so this is very useful. Then we have 2 points in Concussion for some more initial hit damage, 1 point in Outbreak for 20% more area, and 5 points in Shatterquake, so we do 150% more damage against chilled or frozen enemies, and we have plenty of chill chance, so by the time the second or third initial hit happens, you're going to have that 150% multiplier being applied. We can hit the Training Dummy for almost 700,000 damage on a critical strike hit with this, which is almost twice as much as the 400k we were doing last time with the full life version. Then for Werebear Form, we have 4 points in Rip and Tear, so that we have more damage and more crit chance if we've used Charge recently, which we're obviously going to be using Charge as much as possible. We have 3 points in Hightail for the highest amount of cooldown recovery speed that you can get with Charge in this skill tree. You can get more if you put it on the helm, however we didn't go that route. 1 point in Overwhelm, so that you will stun an enemy guaranteed on your arrival for Charge. This adds a mana cost, but we stacked a lot of attunement so that we can get that mana cost down. And with the mana on kill, thanks to the chess piece, you're going to have no problem keeping your mana full whenever there's lots of enemies. Bosses are a little bit different, but you'll always have enough mana to finish out the boss fight before you need to go back into human form to regen. In fact, if you do a boss fight, get to about half mana and then run some echoes, you can actually fill your mana back up without ever leaving Werebear Form. And then 2 points in Skull Crush so that you get 100% more hit damage while you're in Werebear Form against stunned enemies. So here's where all the damages are going to apply. You're going to charge in. As soon as you charge, you get 100% damage bonus. Okay? Before you charge, you're going to use this Enrage. We have 4 points in Enrage, which increases your damage per missing health. So you get 4% more damage for each percentage of missing health. You're going to be missing 99% of your health. So since you're missing 99% of your health, you get almost 400% bonus damage. Then you get 100% damage for the charge, so you're going to have 500% increased damage. Then when you charge, you're going to stun the enemy, and then you get 100% more hit damage. So you can see all those multipliers and added increased damages just all come together. And then you have the Berserker node that's in your passive tree for 100% more damage. And then you have Earthquake, which is in its most expensive form, giving you those 3 initial hits that are just going to hit hard as a rock. You can basically kill everything with one use of an Earthquake that's not obviously a timeline boss. And then we have 3 points in Pummel for the added melee physical damage, 1 point in Ursane Heart for some added armor, 1 point in Intimidating War for some frailty stacks on your war, and 1 point in Invigoration so that when you war, you get mana and health gained per enemy that it hits. This is another way just to get some of your mana back when you use it if there's enemies. If you know that you're in a pack of enemies waiting on charge and you've got like 20 enemies on you, that's a good time to get 20 mana back. Then for Swipe, we don't really ever use Swipe, and this isn't spec'd most optimally, so you can definitely change this out. Like I said, I never even use it, but the way we have it set up here, just in case people are wondering, is 3 points in Aspect of the Panther, 3 points in Wild Calling, 8 points in Way of the Hunt. Yes, I know, we're not leeching. Why would I have it set up this way? Like I said, we're not using it. I'm sure I'll still get questions about it, but just ignore it. 4 points in Wingarian Reach, 1 point in Claws of the Bear, and 1 point in Lupine Attunement. Then for Ice Thorns, we have the setup so that when we get hit, there's a chance for it to proc, and it'll give us more armor. We have 3 points in Dagger Thorns, 2 points in Bramble Armor, 4 points in Spell Thorns, 1 point in Anima Philly, 1 point in Thorn Shield, 4 points in Bulb Shield. So the way this works is there's going to be a 40% chance between these points for when you get hit for it to be cast, and then there's a 40% chance when that does proc for it to be cast twice, basically. Then we have 3 points in Bark Shield for more armor, and 2 points in Eternal Protection, so we keep that shield a bit longer. And then for Summon Thorn Totem, we don't have an idol to proc the Thorn Totems on hit. However, if you don't want to run health idols like we are here, feel free to put on an idol that allows you to proc Thorn Totems on hit. And this is how I would spec the tree, so that there's a chance for them to do the chill. And the reason you would want them to apply chill to enemies, obviously, is so that you're going to do that more damage with Earthquake, the 150% more damage whenever it does a hit. So I have it set up with 2 points in Teutonic Wisdom, 4 points in Venom Tipped Thorns, 3 points in Lasting Affliction, 1 point in Ice Thorn Totems, and 1 point in Frost Attunement. Up on the top side, we got 4 points in Forested Expanse, 4 points in Eternal Forest, and 1 point in Groove Mind. For passive points, I have 35 points in the Primalist base class, with 1 point in Gift of the Wilderness, 8 points in Natural Attunement, 1 point in Primal Strength, 5 points in Hunter's Restoration, 5 points in Survival of the Pack, 5 points in Berserker, and 10 points in Ancestral Weaponry. Because we are using a two-handed mace, we'll get 50 cold additional damage with every attack that we do. We have 0 points in the Beastmaster and 15 points in the Shaman. That's to 1 unlock Earthquake and 2 give us a bunch of chill chance on hit. We have 8 points in Shamanic Infusion for that attunement and penetration, and 7 points in Tempest Form. All we want this for is that chill chance on hit. And then for Druid, we have 61 points, 7 points in Barkskin, 8 points in Soul's Attendant, 8 points in Woodlore, 8 points in Spirit Claws, 10 points in Blossoming Vines, 10 points in Eternal Nature, 10 points in Hide Skin. For items and idols, so for idols we're just wearing a bunch of 1x2s, and these have increased health, flat health, we have some critical strike chance, and we have some elemental resist. Just a mix and match of a whole bunch of different types. And then, like I said in the intro, this is not a very new player friendly build. We have a lot of uniques, we have some snapshotting going on, but if you want to give it a try and you have all these uniques, like I said, it's the laziest playstyle ever. You literally put charge on autocast and you just point the mouse and that's all you do. You don't push a single button. So we have, for a two-handed staff, or for a two-handed mace, we have the Boulder's Wrath. I don't know why, but to me it just constantly looks like a staff. And it gives you a huge amount of melee fire damage, and this is what causes you to use Earthquake after you do a non-channeled movement ability, which is what charge is while you're inside of Werebear. We also have 2 rings, the Sun Wreath rings. These, I believe you can gamble for. I'm not 100% sure, I didn't look it up, but these have been falling for me left and right in my new solo guides I put out. I had like 2 of these fall on both of the characters, which was a little bit ridiculous. These give you a chance to ignite on melee hit. They give you increased fire damage over time for that ignite. But the biggest thing, they give you 14 melee fire damage added. So 2 of those increases your melee fire damage by almost 33%, which is huge. It lets you do a lot more damage. As for the Flame Reeve part in the bottom 2, just ignore those stats, they don't apply to us. Then we are running a low life build. So we have Inzanguius and we have Last Steps of the Living. Those are 2 you'll need for this build to work really good as a low life build. And then, of course, the other ring, same thing. And then we have, for an amulet, Exlar's Conundrum, which converts all of your potion health into ward. You can't leech, you can't regenerate. This is what's going to keep you at the lowest amount of HP that you can possibly have. And what's nice about it, when you pop a potion, it's just all extra wards. Like right now, I'm sitting at 3,000 ward. I have 0 health. If I pop a potion, we jump up to 3,600. So it's nice. It gives you, if you can just constantly pump them out too, because if you're missing potions tend to drop a lot more often, which is just a bunch of added ward for you. And then for our crafted items, we're wearing the Crusader Gauntlets. We basically just wanted attunement and health. That's really what you want on all of your things. We have on the gloves attunement, critical strike chance, hybrid health, flat health. For the belt, we have fire damage, ward gained on potion use, hybrid health, increased health. For the relic, we went with the Spirit Catcher for that resistance. We have attunement, critical strike multiplier, health, and physical resist. And then for the helm, we have +2 to Earthquake, so make sure you get tier 5 to the Earthquake, and then that's really all that matters. On this one, we also have +5, or tier 5 attunement, and then we have, what is that? We got like tier 3 and 3 on the healths. So just make sure that Earthquake is really the most important thing on this. Those 2 extra levels really help with the damage. Of course, it does so much damage already, you don't even need to do that. Like, you could have all tier 1s right here and you're going to do just fine with this build. It's really based upon the uniques in this build. As you can tell, we're over half of us are uniques. Now, to show you how the snapshotting works, so right now, if I take Inzanguius off, you want to put the cage chest on, and then you'll be in Werebear form, and then you can swap it back. And just like that, you're going to get all the benefits of this. You're going to get that elemental resist, the strength, the increased cast speed, the melee cold damage, and you're going to get the white fur you keep. You get the mana gained on kill. Those are some big stats for you, and they're really nice. And now, since Inzanguius is being worn, you also get the benefits of Inzanguius at the same time. So you get the benefits of basically wearing both chest pieces at the same time. So obviously this build is not going to stick around very long. And then for the character sheet, as you can see, we don't have a whole lot of resistances, just enough to kind of deduct a lot of the damage that we take. We got 19% armor, 0% dodge, and then we have 3,500 health, which is what is allowing us to get so much ward. Now, like I said, because of the fact that we're low life and the way we have the Werebear tree set up, when we war like this, our damages jump through the roof. We got 950% melee. Like, it's just an absolutely incredible amount that it jumps up. And you got about 400%, 500% of everything else, including the fire damage, which is a big boost to you. So you'll use that, and your damage will go through the roof. So how this build works, I just put charge on autocast, and then you'll just, every time there's a target, you'll just start charging. and that'll be it. And then if you orb beforehand, you'll do some extra damage. You can see that we're critting for 400k. If we get a nice crit on the third initial hit, which is the biggest hit, you know, some of the crits I've seen have gone up to do 600,000 or 700,000 damage. Of course, we don't have a very high critical strike chance, so you're not going to crit, you know, like super often, but you will get some good damage if you happen to have chill on the enemy. Like, there we go, we got a couple of 500,000 hits, and you'll just basically kill everything on the map really quick. It's also nice because it comes with a perma stun, so all the bosses, all the rares, everything you hit that has a move that might kill you, you stun them, you knock them out of it, and as you saw in the gameplay and see in the gameplay about to happen, it's just ridiculously stupid. And speaking of gameplay, let's go ahead and get into it.